Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Back Nine Report, where every week Fred Altvater and I get together and check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Here we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. So let's bring in Fred Altvater. Fred, hi, how are you this week?
Hey, Carlos. Hey, here we are at the end of October already. This has been one of the most unusual years I've ever seen in my almost 70 years of living. I can't wait for 2020 to get over, and let's get on to 2021. We're really winding down here, so I'm done. But that said, you know, things are pretty good, really. The Buckeyes look fantastic. We got Big Ten football again, so that's a good thing. I don't know. Did you catch any of the Indiana and Penn State game? Did you see that last play in the overtime? Oh, Carlos, you got to Google that. You got to look that up. Indiana and Penn State went back and forth. Indiana had a lead. Penn State caught back up. They went to overtime. Penn State scored a touchdown. Indiana gets the ball. They're 4th and goal from about the 11 or something. And the quarterback runs off left tackle and reaches out and just barely touches the pylon with the football for the score and to win. Penn State had to settle for a field goal or so. So they win the ball game in overtime with the touchdown. It was unbelievable. But we got Big Ten football. That's great. We got the Browns are fun to watch. They're actually winning a little bit. The World Series is still going on. That's pretty entertaining, right? So, I mean, for a sports fan, you know, plus we got golf. We still got the LPGA. We got the PGA tours going. We got the Champions tours going. We got the European tour going. We got live golf going on. So it's really, for a sports fan, it just doesn't get any better. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. It's a good deal. So, but Carlo, we're here to talk about golf, right? We talk about golf. We don't talk about football. We don't talk about that other stuff. We don't talk about kneeling or not kneeling or any of that kind of thing. We just talk about golf. So top stories this week in golf, we're going to touch base on Patrick Cantlay, won in California. He grew up, like 11 miles from this golf course or something and never played it before. That was amazing. Wins there. Allie McDonald gets her first win at Reynolds Lake Oconee. I didn't know if you know this, but Raleigh, I think she's from right up the road here in Michigan. I'm not sure about that, but, you know, I got some more.
Wait. Now you're changing to Michigan. Before it was Ohio. So now it's Michigan.
Both. I'm bistatial.
Okay.
What do you call that? Interstate commerce or something? I'm interstatal.
Dual state.
Multi-state.
Dual state chip. You have dual state chip.
That's what dual state chip. Exactly. I am actually November the 9th. I have to go in and become a Michigan resident. So it's going to be official November the 9th, believe it or not. Still, I'm here in Toledo tonight, though. I drove down today, going down to French Lick tomorrow for a couple days, see our friends down there, shoot some video, get some interviews, play a little golf. Looking forward to that. Always enjoy going to French Lick. They're great. But anyhow, this week in golf, we talked about Allie McDonald won, got her first win at Reynolds Lake Oconee. She was on the Ryder Cup team, so it's a pretty good player. I got some more Ohio stuff for you too, Carlos. This is gonna blow your mind. Tiger and Phil were non-factors at the Zozo, but you know, like I say, every week we got golf. We got golf to talk about, so let's go, Carlos.
Yeah, like a lot of other sports don't have a lot to talk about. It doesn't matter. We have been talking about golf all year long, pandemic or not. We have something to talk about golf. So anyway, let's start talking on the weekend backspin. Every week, Fred and I go back and forth and recap what happened in the weekend's action. And of course, we have to start with the PGA Tour, or the Zozo Championship. And Fred, Patrick Cantlay, I mean, he drew up a simple plan to erase a 3-stroke deficit heading into the final round there at the Zozo Championship. He said, I'm going to make as many birdies as I can.
That's a good plan. That's a good plan.
Amazing plan. But, you know, that is easier said than done for most of us mere mortals. You know, but for Cantlay, he put in more than 110 feet of putts on Sunday, and he carded 9 birdies, tying the most he's ever made in a PGA.
You only play 18 holes, right?
18 holes. So half of them.
9 birdies in 18 holes. I don't make 9 birdies in a month.
I don't even remember making 9 birthdays in a year. I don't. But anyway, but Patrick did it in just one round, so half of the holes he birdied. But it added up to a 765 there at Sherwood Country Club in Thousand Oaks, California, for the California native. And you mentioned it. I mean, he grew up so close to this course, and he had never played. But hey, it was good enough to search past overnight leader Justin Thomas and John Ram, who tied for second for his third PGA Tour title. So we've talked about Patrick Cantlay. I mean, we like Patrick. He's one of the most consistent players on tour. He ranked in the top 20 in 50 different statistical categories just a year ago. But his putter, it had been holding him back since his last victory at the Memorial last year. But he recently switched to a slightly heavier and half-inch longer Scotty Cameron Newport GSS putter, and worked hard last week on his path, placing his hands more forward in hopes of getting the putter more square at address. Now, it also didn't hurt. He received a little helping hand, or shall we say, set of eyes, from the owner of one of the silkiest putting strokes he knows, Ricky Fowler, who happened to be his roommate last week during the CJ Cup. So for the first 3 rounds, Cantlay relied on his superb ball striking and played the first 54 holes bogey-free in shooting rounds of 67, 65, and 68. He classified his putting as a solid all week, but his stroke really heated up on Sunday as he gained more than 3 strokes on the field and put together the third best putting round among the 77-man field. That included, now besting the result, the world's number 2 and number 3 in the process. That's John Ram and Justin Thomas. So the amazing win for Patrick. He's getting. They ask him, "Hey, don't you think you peak at the wrong time, because the Masters is in a couple of weeks?" So, and he said, I just won Tiger Woods the tournament that Tiger Woods won last year. So now I'm going to try to win the next one that he played, but that he won last year. But Patrick, there's just a little switcheroo there. It was Masters first, Zozo. But anyway, you got the idea. You got the right idea. Anyway, Russell Henley, Cameron Smith, Bubba Watson, and Brian Palmer. I keep telling Bubba Watson is surging up the leaderboards again. All of them finished tied for fourth place, 3 shots out of the tie for second place. Fred, to wrap it up, a total of 77 players finished the tournament with, like you mentioned, Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson were non-factors at all, especially Tiger, who was won 5 times here, 5 times second place, and 1 fourth place in 12 appearances. So we were expecting at least something from him. No factor at all. Gary Woodland had to withdraw with a back injury after playing just 7 holes on Thursday. And Adam Scott had to withdraw from the tournament Wednesday because he tested for positive for COVID-19. That gave way for Jim Herman to compete. But according to the PGA Tour, Scott now is the 15th player to test positive since the tour returned from the 13-week lockdown because of the pandemic.
Yeah, but as much traveling as they're doing and going, they're still traveling around the United States. You know what? You're talking a couple hundred guys here. That's not much. That's not very much. Every week maybe there's one guy or one caddy or something. I think it's phenomenal what they're able to do. And like the women on the LPGA tour, they're staying in those bubbles and they're really controlling it. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing over there. And we're going to talk about it later. And now you got countries that are going to close golf courses again. So we're going to talk about that later. But it's all over the board. This whole COVID thing. We're still dealing with it. Carlos, you made a really good point with Patrick Cantlay putting his hands forward just a little bit with that putter. I do that a lot. We had the thing with Phil doing a forward press. If you're having trouble hitting the ball like on the bottom of your putter, you're probably maybe a little bit weak. You're coming up out of it a little bit. If you press your hands forward a little bit and feel like you're hitting down through the back of the ball a little bit, you'll get a much better square hit on the ball. It'll roll better. It'll come off better. Most putters have about a 4-degree loft on them, so you can actually hit down them a little bit, and they'll actually roll a little bit better than if you pull up on them. So that's a really good point. to try and hit the ball more square or more solid. Press those hands forward. It worked for Ben Crenshaw, one of the best putters of all time. He always had Jack Nicklaus always had that little forward press, and so that's a really, really good tip right there. You said Bubba. Bubba had another great week. He has been playing really well the last couple of weeks. He's kind of just trending for the Masters. That's very good. Lanto Griffin, we talked about him coming up from the Korn Ferry Tour a couple years ago. He won last year. He had another really good week. He's trending. Rory, T17, moved up 18 spots on Sunday with a 66. Jordan Spieth, he made a cut, finished T41, but it was another roller coaster. Shot a 70 opening round, then a 66, 74, 67. He just can't seem to be consistent to get anything done. And then we talk about Tiger and Phil. Phil had it going on Saturday for a while. He had 9 birdies through 11 holes. Then he overhooked his tee shot at the par 3 third hole, which was his back 9, his 12th hole. Made double, made pars the rest of the way in. Struggled on Sunday, made 3 doubles and shooting 78, dropped way down next to last. Phil also said he may skip Houston this year. He always plays in Houston, always plays the week before a major. But he said, this 2,000 fan things, I don't know if I want to go where there are fans and all that kind of 2,000 fans. Give me a break. But he did tell Golf Channel on Saturday, that's not the fan thing is not a deciding factor. I'm sure the tour would do a great job of making it safe. Evidently somebody at the tour said something to him not to be messing with the fans. Russ clearly showed in Tiger's game on a course he normally eats up. And Sherwood really is just a series of par 3s. You have to hit spots there, right? So you just hit the ball out to the spot in the fairway, then you hit from that spot to the green and you putt. Tiger is usually really good at that kind of stuff. So that just tells you that he might have a good swing, he might feel good, but he's not tournament ready. That's just pure rust. You don't trust the shot. You don't stay down on it. You come out of it, whatever. So he needs to play a little bit more, but it was said today, Michael Steinberg said today that Tiger will not play in Houston. Of course, he's not over in Bermuda. So he's never played 21 years. He's never played in a regular tour event the week before the Masters. He's not going to do it again this year. So he's just going to practice, slip up to Augusta for a couple days, practice a little bit, then fly back to Jupiter and hang out with the kids, I guess. But whatever. Also, Carlos, I don't know if anybody noticed this or not, but if you watch the Tiger Tracker stuff on Twitter and all those different places, Golf Channel was not providing that this year. So evidently their layoffs are having some effect on being able to do like the Tiger Tracker. So you mentioned the fact that Adam Scott didn't play. I guess that's about all I got from the Zozo. I did watch a little bit. We've seen that golf course so much. I was such a MASH fan, and I can't, every time they got that shot of the mountains, I just can't get away from seeing that helicopter landing and, all that stuff from MASH at the opening of MASH. So always like to watch that golf course.
Nah, it's a great course. I'm disappointed. I didn't expect the Tiger to do much anyway, but at least since it's a course that he basically can play blind if he wanted to, I expected him to do a little better. But hey, like you mentioned, it's just ongoing. We'll see. I don't think we can expect anything in the Masters either, unless he really comes out of a miracle and does something right that we don't know. But definitely doesn't seem like you mentioned. I have to agree. I think he's just not tournament ready, and unfortunately, he's not going to have the prep on the Houston Open. So hey, that's just less repetitions. I guess he'll keep practicing and try not to force more his back and see what he can do at the Masters. Again, Augusta is another course that he can play at any time, anyway. So we'll see what happens. But definitely not trending well for him. But for Patrick Cantlay, he's definitely trending, and he's someone that could be very dangerous in the Masters if he keep bringing that game and that hot putter that he had, because his all-around game is just elite. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah, but they're all playing for second place anyhow because Bryson's already got wrapped up, right?
We'll see. You know what? I'm gonna go on record right now, and I'm gonna say he's not gonna win it. He's not even gonna be in top five. That's how I'm gonna go for it. But anyway, that's for a couple of weeks from now. Anyway, let's go on and now move to the European.
Kieran will probably be all over Bryson. He'll probably want Bryson 100% for the Masters.
They'll see. I'm out. I already made my analysis on him, and he's not gonna win. Anyway, we'll see. Russ McGowan. Let's talk about Russ McGowan. He sealed an emotional. It was a really emotional victory for him at the Italian Open because it was his first win in over 11 years. The Englishman hold a 20-foot putt at the last to overcome his playing partner Laurie Cantor. After a thrilling day, their final battle, they were going on and off at the Chevrolet Golf Club in Italy. Russ McGowan is a 38-year-old. He held a plethora of long-range putts throughout the week in Brescia there. And once again, he had his putter to thank on the final day. So we see Patrick Cantlay relying on the putter and Russ McGowan as well there in the European Tour. Who would say that the putter is important, right? Anyway, the field for the first tournament of the Mediterranean swing was not particularly strong, but it did feature some great players. Former Ryder Cup star Nicolas Colsaerts joined Cantor in a share for second spot after the Belgian's birdie at the par 5 closing hole, which was his fifth of the day, having started the day with a bogey, earned him a 4 under 68, 19 under, and his best finish of the season so far. We haven't talked about Nicolas Colsaert a lot. Sebastian Heisel finished alone in fourth place at 18 under. So Fred now McGowan with this win moves from 560th in the world up to 242nd. Still a long way to go, but hey, at least a win is a win anywhere you get it.
And this guy was a player, Carlos. He beat Oliver Fisher to win the 2006 English Amateur Championship. Turned professional later that year after graduation from the University of Tennessee. Finished second the very first year in the Challenge Tour rankings in 2007. Won right away on the European Tour. He won the 2009 Madrid Masters. Later that year, finished runner-up at the DP World Championship. That's a big event. Came close to making the 2010 Ryder Cup team. Then in 2011, lost his card, spent the next 4 years battling injuries and out there in the Netherlands of the golf world, just trying to find his way back. It's taken a long time. He's played in 205 events, made 100 cuts, 17 top tens, earned 2.8 million euro. And this, like you said, this win comes 11 years after his first win in 2009. Talk about Cantor, the runner-up. He fired a minus 1260, minus 12 on Thursday to take the lead. Didn't get the win, but his fourth top 10 in the last 9 events. He is trending. Cantor got a bad break on Saturday. I don't know if you saw any of the golf course, but there's power lines scattered all through the golf course there to affect about 6 holes. If a ball hits a power line, it's no shot. You got to play it over, right? So on Saturday, Cantor hit a wonderful shot, but it clipped a power line. He replayed it. Boom, hits it in the water, cost him a bogey. He might as well gone up and took a drop and hit it from where it was, I guess. But, oh, well, that was all it needed. That bogey lost him the tournament right there, Carlos. So, Italian Open. It's in the books. McGowan gets a win. Good for him.
Now let's talk about the LPGA. Ali McDonald may never have another birthday celebration better than the one she enjoyed on Sunday. She's a Mississippi native. She won for the first time on the LPGA Tour, claiming the LPGA Drive-On Championship, played at the Reynolds Lake Oconee. Her winning tap-in for par on the 18th hole at the Great Waters set off, I don't know if you saw it, but it set off like a Harpo Marx-like round of horn honking from the 50-plus watercraft that she had on the back on the lake. They had a symbol there to watch in the cove. Hey, I cannot be there in the course, so I'll watch for here. And they had pretty nice. I mean, it was funny. But that was just the beginning for her. After getting doused by numerous bottles of water from her coworkers as she walked to the scoring area, McDonald was then escorted up the hill to find a birthday cake. And her pals, Catherine Kirk and Amy Olsen, lit the candles for her, led the crowd in a happy birthday chorus there. But it wasn't her first birthday cake. It was her second because she had celebrated her mom and dad, Jamie and Angie, with a slice of another cake on Saturday night. So then she was rushed back to the green for the awards ceremony and trophy presentation. She said a few words to the crowd, turned to thank the Lake Oconee Navy, which she drew even more honks and hoots. She closed in with a 3 under 69 to finish at 16 under for the week. Good enough for a one-stroke victory over the veteran Danielle Kang. She tried her best, but she couldn't. She shot 68, Danielle Kang, 2 shots better than the long-hitting rookie Bianca Padanganan, who finished third. Now, Mina Hariash finished shot 67 and tied for fourth at 13 under with Carlota Siganda, who birdied the 3 of the final 4 holes for 69. She was on fire there on that final round. But the low round of the day belonged to Amy Olsen at 65. Aria Utanagran tied for 6 with Catherine Kirk. Lydia Ko was in a 3-way tie for 8 with Brittany Altomari and Matilda Castren to round up the top 10. Fred, with this win now on her resume, for Ali McDonald, her biggest concern, I guess, is where to put that large crystal trophy in her new house there in Starkville, because it's really big.
Yeah, I'm gonna start talking a little bit about Reynolds Lake Oconee. We had Dave Short on a week ago, who is one of the head guys there, and I've had the opportunity to spend a couple of different times down at Reynolds, and it's just wonderful. And I was interested in seeing a lot of the young ladies who played this week. All were raving about Reynolds. Of course, Michael Wan has a place there, spends a lot of time at Reynolds. Did you see him on the microphone during the week? One of the announcers got sick. He filled in, did some interviews. He said,
He can do it all. I mean, he's Michael Wan.
He can do it all. Exactly. He just fits right in, no problem. Daniel Kang said he's about the only guy that she would have agreed to an on-course interview with. Matter of fact, the first time I saw Daniel Kang was at the marathon. She was on the tee, getting ready to tee off in a pro-am. And I was out there taking some pictures, and Michael Wan was standing on the tee talking to her, and they were laughing and carrying on. So this is like about 5 years ago, right? This is a long time ago. And that's how close he is to the players. They just love him. He is so good with them. But yeah, he picked up the microphone and jumped right in, and it was great. But Reynolds, you saw the people in the boats there. They're all congregating out there. I think there's 375 miles of coastline there, Carlos. I mean, that lake goes in and out, jets in and out. It's absolutely beautiful. Reynolds gave Jack a whole bunch of water frontage there to put those holes on. And he made great use of it. It's fantastic. If you ever get a chance to go there, anybody's out there and they want someplace to go this winter, fall is a perfect time to go down there. Late winter, early spring is perfect there. In Georgia, it's right between Augusta and Atlanta. Reynolds is a wonderful place. They got all kinds of different accommodations there, so they can fix you up. But the girls all liked it there. The course looked great. They had a lot of aerial coverage from drones in the air. I thought they did a really good job with that. Talk a little bit about Allie McDonald. She qualified for the LPGA Tour in 2015. While the final qualifying tournament was a captain's pick for the Solheim Cup in 2018. She earned $195,000 this week, gives her almost $413,000 for a career for the season, and $1.6 million for her career. So she's done pretty well so far. Last season, she made 18 cuts and 25 starts. Her best finish was a T3 coming at the Walmart Northwest Arkansas Championship. Others, Daniel Kang made a big push on Sunday. I love watching her play, man. She grinds. When she's in the hunt, she is fun to watch because she's really grinding. She's serious about it. I really like watching her play. Okay, so now I got to talk about, and I'm going to let you, so Bianca Padanganan. Is that wrong?
A little N at the end.
Padanganan.
Yeah, sort of.
Pretty close?
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close.
All right. So she's doing, she's hitting 3-wood past the other two ladies, Allie McDonald and Daniel Kang. She's hitting it past them with a 3-wood, right? Off the tee. Her driver is 20, 25, 30 yards ahead of those guys. She's just killing. She's doing on the LPGA Tour what Bryson DeChambeau is doing on the PGA Tour. She likes to hit it hard and then hit it again. She's number 1 in driving distance with 289 yards. Maria Fassi is number 2 She's more than 6 yards behind Bianca, right? She was medalist. Bianca was the medalist in 2019 Stage 1 qualifying, finished T38 at the LPGA Q Series, and she got into the 2020. She's a rookie this year. Now, we haven't seen much of her. She, had some lower finishes. She made some cuts, but then she jumps up at the KPMG players, women's PGA. And she had a great tournament there, and this is her next follow-up, and she had a really good finish here. She fell off a little bit on Sunday, but she played really, really well. So the point I want to make here, well, Steve Eubanks has a wonderful piece in this week's Global Golf Post as well. He says that that Bianca is the future of women's golf. So, and he talks a little bit. You don't think so? I don't know. I think this is it, Carlos. I'm telling you. Her first
not even close. Not even close. She won't be even a top 10 player in the world. Mark my words. Today, October 27, 2020, she won't be. That's. You can follow that up. You'll see.
I'm going to hold you to that, okay?
Only to that. She won't even be close. She won't even be close.
Her first drive went 301 yards, had a wedge into the par 4 first. McDonald and Kang were trying to reach with 8 irons. At 286 in the second hole, a par 5, easily reached with a hybrid. McDonald and Kang both had to lay up, and they hit 3 woods, 20 yards short of the green. On a par 3 17th, 157 over water into a wind, Kang and McDonald hit 7 irons, made par and bogey. Bianca hit 9 iron, 12 feet under the hole, made the putt for birdie. I know length is not the only thing in golf, Carlos, but with the way it's going, more and more, length is so important. Bryson is showing that on the men's tour. I really think I like this girl, Carlos. I think she's going to be all right. I have to disagree with you a little bit on that one.
I'm completely sure.
Okay. Matilda Castern, who won last week on the Sumatra Tour, finished T8 along with Lydia Ko and Brittany Altamari. Stacey Lewis, T17. Lexi was T24, Carlos.
If I know something, it's my rookies, and she was not even in my top 5. So if there's something I do is study my rookies, and she's a good player, but she's not going to be the. In the ladies, it's not going to be the same thing. We have seen it all the time. There's powers in the ladies' game. It's not the future. It's not what it's going to be. Maybe Bryson might change it in the men's sport, but I don't see it happening here. And at least for what I've seen from her, she's good, but she's not an elite player yet. And I don't see what she could do to become that, other than being that power player right now. And if you take, for example, Aria Utanagran was maybe what we thought was going to be something big with that power and all that, but even her had to take away the driver to go for the 3-wood, because it didn't mean a thing, the power to her in the women's game. So I don't see it happening, but we'll see. Again, I respect Steve and your opinion, but at this time, I am completely sure it's not going to happen. She's not even going to hit the top 10.
I'll tell you what, she works from 150 in and chipping and putting. Carlos, she's got everything else. So, and you can learn that other stuff. You just practice it. You work on it.
We'll see. But let's see. I'm going to have it here every week from now on. You will see it's not going to happen.
Okay.
And then I'm personally going to contact, at the end of next year, I'm going to contact Steve and I'm going to tell him, see, she's not even top 10 yet. You'll see.
I got one. Before we leave this, I got one other thing for you. I completely almost forgot about it. So her caddy, did you notice the caddy?
No.
Okay. You know where he's from?
Where?
He's from Toledo.
That's why. Now I get it. Now I see why. It came full circle.
He caddied in Inverness. Got the Evans Scholarship from there. Went to Ohio State. Graduated in professional golf management. from Ohio State, has decided to give caddying a try and got on Bianca's bag. And I got his phone number. I called him. We're going to have him on the show one of these days, hopefully, and he can tell us all about her, Carlos. And you can tell him how she's not going to make it.
I'm up front with that and no problem at all. I can't even talk to Bianca. I tell her, look, you're great, but you're not top 10. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. It might work. Anyway, let's move on. With that, we close up our weekend backspin. Let's move on to the forecall. And let's talk about what's going to happen this weekend. And let's start with the PGA Tour, where they're going to be playing in Southampton in Bermuda. Beautiful on the west coast of Bermuda there, the Port Royal Golf Course, the Bermuda Championship. That golf is not too big. It's just over 6,800 yards. So Bryson would just clear this par 71 in nothing. The defending champion here is Brendan Todd. This tournament is in its second year, and originally it was scheduled to be opposite the WGC HSBC Champions in Shanghai, which, as you know, right now was canceled. So that means that this tournament now is going to offer full FedEx Cup points and also a spot in the Masters next year, not this year. So don't come now and I'm not in the Masters. For next year. Masters is all set already. So anyway, 5 major champions are going to be playing: Patty Harrington, Henrik Stenson, Jason Doffner, Stuart Sink, and Danny Willett. The only player from the top 50 in the world is the defending champion, Brendan Todd. So the field is not that high ranked now. For other players that are going to be there, Fred Funk and his son Taylor are playing for the second straight year. Both missed the cut last year. Sponsors exemption were given to the brothers Ole and Luke Schneiderjans, but the player I'm looking forward to see, other than Will Zalatoris, is going to be Rasmus Højgaard. I've been talking about him on the European Tour. The 19-year-old from Denmark, watch out. He's making his debut at a regular PGA Tour event. You know, he's already a 2-time winner on the European Tour this season. 19 years old is ridiculous. Let's see how he fares against a similar type of field, because this has the look and feel of the fields that he's been facing their European Tour. Not a lot of big time names, but good enough veterans there to fill it up. So Port Royal, this is a great course. It hosted the PGA Grand Slam of Golf from 2009 to 2014. Harrington won in 2012. Duffner and Sink also played in the Grand Slam at Port Royal. So Fred, how about this tournament?
Yeah, I was going to mention the fact that Harrington had a little experience there from the PGA Grand Slam. Brendan Todd, defending champ. This is where he kind of began his fantastic year last year. Followed up with the win at Mayakoba the following week. Finished 18th in the FedEx Cup, and now has set his sights on making a Ryder Cup or a President's Cup team. Last 3 events, he was T27 at the U.S. Open, T52 at the CJ Cup, T47 last week at the Zozo. So since that phenomenal run last fall, the 2 wins, he's had a 3rd and a 4th place finish, all kind of right there in a grouping right there last fall. So he's played solid, only missed a couple of cuts, added a couple more top 10s, earned over $3.3 million in 2020. So really great year. It started all right here at Bermuda last year. You mentioned Zalatoris. This could be a very good place for him to jump up and get that win, get the 2-year exemption, get the Masters, get all that stuff. He's a quality player. We've been talking about him now for over a year. This could be a really good opportunity for him too, Carlos.
Definitely, and that's those are the 2 players I'm looking forward to seeing in this tournament, him and Rasmus Højgaard. I think Rasmus should tell us a little bit about himself now that we're going to see him here on this side of the pond, so watch out for him. Now let's talk about the European Tour, where they're going to be playing the Cyprus Open. They're going to be playing at the Aphrodite Hills Resort Golf Club there. The course is also not as long. It's just over 6,900 yards. It's the first of 2 consecutive weeks there at the Aphrodite Hills Resort. Both tournaments were added to the schedule to provide playing opportunities in the wake of other events that have been canceled because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The field features 4 players from the top 100 in the world. That includes Robert McIntyre of Scotland and Thomas Dietrich of Belgium. Uh, we'll see Russ McGowan as well. He had gone 11 years since his last European Tour victory. We talked about him. It's going to be here. Before the pandemic this week would have been the start to the tour's final stretch, which would have been Shanghai, Turkey, South Africa, and Dubai. But this changes everything so far. So, Fred, how about this tournament at Cyprus?
Yeah, if they're looking to feature travel and grow travel to the island of Cyprus, Aphrodite Hills is a good starting point. I watched a video flyover of the course. It is spectacular. Sits atop a mesa or a bluff, looks out over the Mediterranean. Absolutely beautiful. As you mentioned, short course, expect some low scoring there. A little about Cyprus. It has been an important copper mining region since the beginning of time. It sits in the middle of the Mediterranean with Turkey to the north, Syria and Lebanon to the east, with Israel and Egypt to the south. You talk about being in the middle of a hot spot. Cyprus is definitely that. It's had numerous rulers and cultures control the island over the years. England took control during World War II, and the island became a separate republic in 1960. Today, it's a vibrant island with a mishmash of various cultures and looks like it would be a great place to visit, Carlos.
Most definitely a great island there, and we'll see. I mean, it's another of this European Tour tournaments that really don't have that big of a field, not big in the core in the amount of players, but big time players. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted, before we get away from this, did you see that, they're staying in Cyprus next week as well? And did you see the format they're going to have for that event next week? They're going to have a couple rounds of stroke play, and then they're going to get down to 32 players. Then they're going to have a shootout, and then they're going to get down to 16 players for a shootout on Sunday. Did you happen to see that?
Yeah. That's
We'll talk about that more next week, but I just wondered. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's part of the interest, the difference. They're trying to just, spice up the attention somehow, and definitely a good change, but something that we'll talk about. And let's get on it a little more depth next week. Now let's talk about another tournament. It's on the PGA Tour Champions. That's the TimberTech Championship. They're going to be playing at the old course at Broken Sound. That's in Boca Raton, in Florida. Just over 6,800 yards to play there, par 72. The defending champions, Bernard Langer, who won the tournament already twice. In 2010 was the first time that he won it last year, and he was a runner-up twice in between that. Jim Furyk is playing in his fifth PGA Tour Champions event. Yeah, as you remember, he won his first two, but he hasn't won ever since. I mean, he's on the downside now. Jim is, I'm worried about him. Anyway, nah, I'm not. He can't win every time. But he's number 9 already in the money list with over $725,000. That's more than he made in 3 of his last 4 years on the PGA Tour. So that's good for him. This tournament dates to 2007 when the former Ryder Cup captain Mark James won his third and final Champions Tour event. Country rap artist Colt Ford is playing on a sponsor's exemption, as is Gary Nicholas. Ernie Els, Jim Furyk, Phil Mickelson, and Miguel Angel Jimenez have combined to win 8 of the 13 tournaments on the pandemic-shortened scheduled season. Mark Calcavecchia is in the field after a bout with COVID-19, so it's going to be nice to see him back again. He won the tournament 2 years ago, so he's very accustomed to playing here. So it's great to see him back also from that.
This is the final event before the Charles Schwab Cup Championship following next week. That's going to end the 2020 Champions Tour season. With the winding down, this is a very good field at this event. Of course, there hasn't been a lot of tournaments, so guys are trying to get in. Top 5 in the Charles Schwab Cup. Only $100,000 separates Ernie Els and Bernard Langer right now for the top of the rankings. 63-year-old Langer's trying to edge closer to Hal Irwin's 45 wins. Champions Tour wins and add yet another Charles Schwab Cup to the 5 cups he's already got on his mantle. Els, the kid at 50, is looking to make his mark on the senior circuit and be in a solid position heading to the Charles Schwab Cup Championship. Boy, say that fast. 10 times. Scotty Perrell, also close enough to Els and Launer to make a serious run for the Charles Schwab Cup. He is one of the most consistent players on the Champions Tour. We've seen that for the last couple of years. Number 4, Miguel Angel Jimenez, and number 5, Jerry Kelly. Seems like Jerry's up there pretty much every year. So they've got a shot coming into the Cup Championship next week. As you mentioned, number 9, Jimmy Furyk, probably the favorite this week, but at 700,000, he's nearly 600,000 behind Els and Langer. Probably too far back to get a shot at the Cup this year. But watch out next year if he commits to playing with the old guys on a more regular basis, Carlos.
No, watch out definitely because he's going to be one up there. Hey, Fred, tell us about the Symetra Tour that they're going to be playing the Carolina Golf Classic at the Pinehurst number 9 there in Pinehurst, North Carolina. This is a new event on the Symetra Tour.
It's the 9th stop on the 2020 road to the LPGA. We'll play on Pinehurst number 9 for the Carolina Golf Classic. This is the final Symetra Tour event before the Tour Championship next week in Davidson, North Carolina. Fatima Fernandez Cano is the Volvic race to the card leader with Kim Kaufman, Bailey Tardy, Anna Redding, and Ruxin Liu close behind. Golf fans can actually watch the final round of this tournament on LPGA's Facebook page. The Symetra Tour has partnered also with the Junior Golf Live to live stream the last few holes of the tournament on Saturday afternoon, followed immediately by the awards ceremony. Based in Raleigh, North Carolina, Junior Golf Live is a mission to provide more exposure to kids competing in junior golf tournaments. So, yeah, kind of cool. Carlos, I got to say about Facebook Live, my grandson plays high school football up there in Michigan. And of course, due to COVID pandemic, we couldn't go to the games. The tickets were limited, but several of the schools had some live streaming, and some of them were doing it on Facebook Live. One of the schools had a local church do the video work and then stream it live on Facebook Live. It was fantastic. I mean, it was like NFL quality stuff. You could actually see the quarterback handing the ball off. They had a couple different camera angles. It was really, really good. So kind of curious to watch this a little bit to see how they do with Facebook Live, Carlos.
Definitely. And hey, tell us a little bit about Oklahoma, who claimed the top seed at East Lake Cup behind the medalist Patrick Welch, and also in the ladies, Ole Miss, who will finally get its match play day there at East Lake Cup after claiming the number one seed. So those are the top number 1 seeds on the men and on the ladies side. Yeah,
the East Lake Cup, of course, is a collegiate competition featuring top performing teams from the NCAA Men's and Women's Golf Championship. The East Lake Cup is taking place. It started on Monday. They had singles on Monday, and in singles, in the men, Oklahoma led the individual scoring with 3 of the top 4 spots. You had Patrick Welch fired 5 under to lead all individual scores. Tied for second was Quade Cummings, also from Oklahoma, and then R.J. Mankey from Pepperdine also was tied for runner-up. Oklahoma's Jonathan Brightwell, Pepperdine's Garrett Martin, and Texas's Travis Vick all tied for 4th. So you had the seeding for the first round for the men. You had, as you mentioned, Oklahoma was the top seed. They played the 4th seed Texas. Number 2 seed Pepperdine played number 3 Texas Tech. In the first round of matches competed today, Pepperdine beat Texas Tech 3-2. Oklahoma bested Texas 3-2. So Pepperdine and Oklahoma will meet. The number 1 and 2 seeds will meet tomorrow for the championship. So the women, Ellen Hume and Kelly Swan, both from Ole Miss, tied for medalist honors at 3 under par. 4 women tied for 1 under for 3rd. Sophia Guo from Texas, Louise K. Go from South Carolina, Pimnipa Panthong from South Carolina, and Florida's Marina Escobar Domingo, all tied. And so Ole Miss earned the top seed with South Carolina number 2, Florida number 3, and Texas A&M number 4. Ole Miss annihilated Texas today, 4.5 to just a half point. They really took a rocket to them. South Carolina beat Florida 3.5 to 1.5. Ole Miss will meet South Carolina tomorrow for the team final. South Carolina will meet, and Texas will play for the consolation match. I just got to mention one other thing, Carlos. I know you'll appreciate this, that the coach of the Florida women's Gator golf team is Emily Bostel Glazer, an MSU alum, formerly LPGA Tour player, born and raised in my hometown, Upper Sandusky, Ohio. There you go, Carlos. More Ohio people making it in the golf world. That's why Ohio is the center of the golf universe.
Really? I've never heard you said that before. With
I'm
that,
going to make people understand.
hey, with that, let's wrap up our call and tell us a little bit about Boyne Resorts before we go to the par 5 news.
Yes, it's cold outside, baby, in northern Michigan. It was spitting snow up there today, Carlos, when I left on the windshield of the truck as I'm pulling away up there about 11 o'clock today. It's not especially good for golf right now. And the people at Boyne are really gearing up for the ski season when the fairways turn into ski slopes. But there are hot deals on booking your golf getaway for 2021. 10 courses, spas, great dining, plus every kind of outdoor activity imaginable. Visit boyne.com/golf and book your buddy's trip or girls' golf getaway for 2021 right now, Carlos. There's good deals. Boyne.com, BOYNE.com/golf. Tell them Back Nine Report sent you.
All right, now let's talk about the par 5 news. Every week, Fred and I pick 5 topic of news and we go at it and give us our opinions on it, comment on that. And let's start talking about, the COVID-19. It's still affecting golf in Europe and the Golfing Union of Ireland, the GUI, and the Irish Ladies Golf Union, the ILGU. They announced last Wednesday that golf clubs will be closing under the level 5 COVID-19 restrictions. That took place starting on midnight last Wednesday. That new lockdown measures will come into effect around the country, and people have been instructed to exercise within 5 kilometers of their homes. Now, in a statement released Wednesday, the GUI and the ILGU say that they are seeking clarity from the government over driving ranges and practice facilities. This is a little dark. There's some gray areas that you can look at. Now, the putters of the country could play during Ireland's first lockdown when most other sports were banned, but only if they live within 5 kilometers of their clubs. But the Department of Sport has decided the game will be out of bounds for the next 6 weeks. That exception during the first lockdown was welcomed enthusiastically by golf clubs and members, with packed fairways and a surging membership reported all over the country. Many picked up a club for the very first time, and a huge number of young people took up the game. There was nothing else to do. Advocates of the game pointed to the social distancing safety of playing a game in a space that is often over 200 acres in size. I mean, naturally, you're going to be already spaced out. And anyway, when you see a group that they're together, they're together. They know if they take a risk, it's on them. They're not going to be along with the others. They're just a hole ahead. But anyway, they argue that the mental health benefits also were massive for the 400,000 people that play golf regularly in Ireland. Fred, with the exception of elite level competitions in rugby, soccer, GAA, and horse racing, sport is set to shut back down for the next 6 weeks in Ireland. What's your take on that?
Stupid. I understand exactly what they're talking. They're not worried about the golf. They're worried about drinking the Guinness at the 19th hole after the round. Shut the bar down. That's easy. Shut the restaurant down. We had that here when they opened the golf courses back up. You had to even sign up outside. They couldn't even go in the shop. You did it outside. It's okay. They could do that there. Not closing those golf courses is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. Around the world, everybody's doing more and more. More things are opening up. We're handling this. We're dealing with it. People are not idiots, right? Well, some people are idiots, but on the whole, people know what they're doing. So this, I just don't get it. One golf course owner, Ronan McGrath, said he owns Craigmore Park at Gladway, and he said he's going to be keeping his club open for all members who live within the 5 kilometer radius. No problem. Come on down. You want to hit balls? You want to practice? You want to play? Whatever. He's there. They said they're asking for clarification. Sport Ireland, the Golf Union of Ireland, Irish Ladies Golf Union, all confirmed that courses in Ireland will be closed. However, McGrath says, nah, that ain't going to happen. We're going to be open. Come on over. So this is just stupid, Carlos. Of all the stuff that's going on, this is really stupid. Also, Wales is going to close. I don't know if you saw that or not. We haven't heard about England and Scotland yet, but Wales courses are going to close next week.
I think we have to ask Kieran to see what are the plans there as well, and the rest of England. We'll see. I mean, it's I don't get it. The first time it worked, I don't remember listening from people that were playing golf that got COVID or raised the pandemic at all. I mean, it's if there's a sport that, along maybe with tennis, are the two sports that really, even more than tennis, because tennis you're in a court and the courts are adjacent one to the other. But here in a golf course is automatically, like you're saying, just close the common areas, but let the people play. There's no way they're going to be together. It's no way.
Put your shoes on, grab your sticks in the parking lot, go up and either pay over the phone or pay outside the door. When I first went to a golf course there in Michigan that was open, he had a table. He didn't even come outside the door. He came to the door. He had a table set up there, so you couldn't even get up to the door. He came out, found out what you wanted, took your card, took it inside, back to the cash register, ran it, came back, gave it back to you. That's as close as you got to the clubhouse. You didn't have to go in. You didn't have to have a beer. You didn't have to have a sandwich. Go play, go walk, whatever you're going to do, and you're done.
Unbelievable. Anyway, let's talk about some great news. Mickey Wright, she undeniably was a gift to golf, one of its greatest champions. Her swing alone, an enduring work of art. But now comes word from the USGA that she has gifted the game substantially more than a memorable biography. Wright, who died at the age of 85 back in February, is donating everything from equipment and awards to scrapbooks, photo albums, films, videos, her library, record collection, personal writings, and other materials that involve her wide-ranging interests. Fred, according to the news release, this includes fishing, the stock market, and sculpture. Incredible that Mickey Wright, legend on its own, keeps giving to the ladies' golf.
Over 300 items that will be on display at the USGA Museum in Far Hills. In addition to the bequest, her estate and positions, Wright's final wishes included being interred outside the Mickey Wright Room on the USGA campus. The USGA plans to honor those wishes with a celebration of your life to take place at a later date when people can come and enjoy that, be involved. The USGA Golf Museum and Library is the nation's oldest sports museum and the world's leading institution for the collection, preservation, and dissemination of golf history. So really, this is really a good deal, really nice of her and her estate to do this. Mickey Wright, really revered as one of the great women players of all time, Carlos.
Most definitely. And I can't wait to see the reports on those things. And I know they'll be coming. Anyway, let's talk about the second oldest golf championship in golf. The South African Open Championship will be hosted by Gary Player Country Club from December 3 to the 6th. The County Golf Championship has been hosted by several golf courses over the country and will now take place at Sun City with a number of top golfers racing the South African Open, supported by Nedbank and Sun International. It'll be the 110th playing of the second oldest national open in golf. It will complete a thrilling 3-week run of tournaments co-sanctioned by the Sunshine Tour and the European Tour. Fred, the Sunshine Tour this week announced a strong end to the 2020 with 3 big events of the Joburg Open, the Alfred Dunhill Championship, and now the South African Open Championship, all of which form part of the tour's post-lockdown international restart. So how about this addition and this closing there by the European Tour?
This is really a good deal by the European Tour. We're going to have, they're in Cyprus. You're going to come over, they're going to have the Masters. We're going to go back. The European Tour players are going to go back to South Africa for 3 weeks. And then they're going to go to the DP World Championship up at Dubai. So really makes a nice end to their season. Things were really broke up there. They couldn't travel to Asia like they normally do, have some of the tournaments they could. So this works out really well for them to still be able to offer some purses and some tournaments to the European Tour players. So this was well done. Again, Keith Pelley keeps looking for everything he can do. Next to Michael Wan, Keith Pelley has to be the second best golf administrator and maybe one of the top 5 sports administrators in the world, probably. He's just looking for, he has done a tremendous job of piecing together some kind of a tour for these European guys this year. They had the 5 tournaments in the UK. Now they've played a couple of tournaments in mainland Europe. And now they're going to end up going to South Africa. So kudos to the European Tour and Kelly for sure getting all this done. It's really, really good stuff, Carlos.
Yeah, and also, just like Michael, when we talked to him, you talked to him here, and he was saying, it's not only about the players, but you have to think about, the places that you were playing and how to get back to that community that you were not giving at that time because you were canceling this type of tournaments here and there. How are you gonna give the players their playing time, but also how are you going to support the community? So, and because in this case, and Keith Pelley is also doing a great job with the limited resources that he has. But in the absence of the NetBank Golf Challenge this year, NetBank, and they got to NetBank and Sun International, which both have been long-standing sponsors of South African professional golf, to agree to support the country's national open and the playing opportunities that it brings for South Africa's leading professionals, which is really the biggest ones that get benefit by this, and the top amateurs that get to play there. So they are going to have those 3 tournaments. While at the same time, let's talk about the other side. That provides the critical business stimulus required in South African professional golf at this time. So it's covering all the bases as well. So kudos to him and Michael Wan and everything in golf. They are just doing a fantastic job at keeping everybody safe and trying to give back, not only to the players, but to the whole golf industry and the communities as well. So anyway, now let's talk about, Suzy Whaley. Man, her tenure is coming to an end as the first female president of the PGA of America. That was quick. It looked like yesterday we were talking about her becoming the first female president of the PGA of America.
6 years ago when she became secretary, then to vice president, and then to press. 6 years has gone by, Carlos. Can you believe that?
Immediately. Incredible. But we got to say that her biggest accomplishment, arguably, was what was an $85 billion industry through all the complications of the pandemic, guided through it. She could have never predicted this massive challenge she'd have to face head on, with the COVID-19 facing 29,000 PGA professionals at golf courses across the country. It forced the PGA of America to really reinvent the PGA Championship. The golf industry has also experienced record rounds of golf over the past few months, and you're going to talk a little bit more about that, thanks to the Back to Golf initiatives, which were guidelines the PGA worked on with the CDC to help people play golf responsibly during the pandemic. Just what we have been saying. People have been doing it, and that she was part of this effort with the PGA of America. She also helped form a Golf Emergency Relief Fund, which provided a total of $7.5 million in aid to applicants seeking financial help at the outset of the pandemic. Fred, we talked about this ever since she started there. She was the first woman since Babe Saharis in 1945 to qualify to play in a PGA Tour event when she did that and played at the 2003 Greater Hartford Open. Great career, very heralded, and sad to see her go.
Yeah, she was a serious player, with no question. First female. Well, Babe was invited. Suzy actually qualified. She qualified at an event, at a section event, to play in a PGA Tour event. So, Annika Sorenstam was invited. Michelle Wie was invited. Suzy Whaley earned her spot. So she's a very, very good player. And to go up through the chairs and do this stuff on the PGA Tour, become the first woman to lead the PGA, 30,000 pros around the country, it's a big deal. They run the PGA Championship, they run the Ryder Cup. It's a big, big job. And as you said, probably she will be remembered as guiding the PGA through the issues of the pandemic. All the golf courses that were closed in March and early April around the country, and getting the guidelines established to get them reopened, to get the pros back working and get golf going back here in the country. And now, as we've seen, to record high numbers, both in equipment sales and in golf rounds played. And I was talking to just today, I was talking to the owner of a short course, a 9-hole short course. He has a putting, little putt-putt course. He has a driving range, and he also has enclosures for hitting balls in the wintertime. And he said, I've never seen a year like this. He said, we were closed down in March, but since we came back, he said, it's just been unbelievable. He said they never had to take tee times before for their little short course. People would just show up and play. He said, on the weekends, we fill up. We have to have tee times on the weekends. So he's really happy with how it's going. But that being said, Suzy Whaley and the PGA and her staff were very instrumental in getting that going again and getting golf played in all the states. We documented, we talked about how the states worked at getting golf going back again, but she helped her staff and PGA helped lay the groundwork to get that stuff going in all the states so that golf could get going. The Ryder Cup was canceled. That was a big deal. The PGA Championship got rescheduled, moved up a week, but it still stayed in San Francisco. She worked with the other major golf associations, the USGA, the LPGA, the Masters, European Tour, the PGA Tour, to get events rescheduled and to get tours going and to keep them safe and to have the guidelines that they needed to play golf again. So, this probably was her greatest thing, what she'll be known for. I think if you ask her, and I'll try and get her on the show. We've had her on a couple times before. I'll try and get her on the show sometime. But if you ask her, I think she'll want to be known for adding diversity, for trying to make golf more diverse, especially for young women and girls. She's had a lot of initiatives to bring a lot of women and more young girls to the game. I think that's what she'd really like to be known for. But she was thrown into the deep end with this COVID thing and has performed pretty well, Carlos.
Pretty well indeed. So, hopefully we can get her in that interview and ask her directly to see, her experiences. How was this challenging times? How hard it was? What things she thought about, what she did. Nothing like having her inside on it. But congratulations, a great career and great achievement. Another one for her. Fred, our final post on the Par 5 news. There was a post on Instagram from Bryson DeChambeau. He claimed that he hit a drive with a 400-yard carry, even without a 48-inch driver he's been testing. His big blast was the talk of the tour last week, for good reason. He's been hinting that he's been touching ridiculous numbers in practice, and now he shows an apparent proof. If you look at it, and if not, Google it, it says that the carry distance was 403.1 yards. The ball achieved a 211 insane miles per hour. Okay, the spin was at a ridiculous 1,957 RPMs. And the time, it was 8.2 seconds. Ridiculous, unheard of. Again, you can see that it's in an iPad. He has it there, but it doesn't answer many questions. I mean, how did he hit it? Was it like the type of long drive championship type of drive that you try to hit? I mean, can you repeat that on a tournament? Or is it really what you're going to use at the Masters and all that? Again, what numbers can he post when he uses the 48-inch model? I guess we'll know soon enough, Fred. But also, you got to ask yourself why he's trying to implement this type of new driver at the year's final major. He's already having a great advantage over everybody else hitting the ball as long as he does. So maybe, hey, wait for Kapalua or Phoenix next year before the next Masters. But again, is it really? I still skeptic about how tournament ready that driver is.
Well, he won a U.S. Open, Carlos, a U.S. Open. They don't give you those. You have to win those. And that was a hard golf course. I mean, it's a lot harder than the Masters than Augusta National is going to be. I guarantee you. I don't know. He's making me a believer, right? 400-yard carry. I can't hit it 400 yards in 2 shots, Carlos. He hit it in 1. Okay, that's ridiculous. That's insane. Yeah, to give you an idea, for an average golfer, right? An average golfer carries it 200 yards in the air. So it rolls out to 220 or 230, whatever. 200-yard carry, that's about 100, that's about 105 or 108 mile-an-hour ball speed. It's about 2,500 spin rate, 12-degree launch. It's in the air for maybe about 4 seconds, right? So that's a lot different than what the numbers that Bryson was posting. I don't know. It just boggles my mind. I haven't seen Bryson live since he's been doing this. I would love to stand on the range and watch him do this a little bit. Hopefully one of these days we're able to get back to tournaments so I can see him. Tiger had a comment. He said, golf bodies is the horse out of the barn. He said the golfing body should have been concerned about this a long time ago. What are they worrying about it now for? This has been going on for a while. It's been getting longer and longer and longer. So I don't know. We talk about it ad nauseum. This is just as I said, this was the weekly news item in the Bryson DeChambeau distance controversy. So he just keeps pushing the bar and keeps getting stronger. It's amazing. He keeps adding clubhead speed, Carlos.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I still can't believe it. I'm not saying that he's lying. I'm just saying, is it really ready for the Masters? And I'm not saying that he's not ready with the kind of stroke that he had before. It's this new one that he's trying. He's claiming to hit 400 yards with it. Is it ready for tournament action? That's all I'm saying.
And you come into the same issue that you were talking about with the women just a little bit ago. So if you've got I guess if you got a 450-yard par 4 and you hit it 370, okay, that leaves you 80 yards in. They don't really have a club for 80-yard shot. They got a club for about 100-yard shot. They got their 60-degree wedge. Anything under that, they've got to take a little bit off, and they don't like that because then you can't control the spin. So what is 400 yards or what does 370 yards do for him? Even in most par 4s or 400 yards to 425, if he's hitting it 360, 370, he's hitting it too far, taking your reasoning that you were using for Bianca Padanganon on the women's tour. So on the par 5s, I guess, but at Augusta, the par 5s aren't straight. You have to work it either up and over the trees or around them. So he's got to be able to move that ball a little bit one way or another as well. I don't know. I'm curious to see. It'll be fun to watch. I can't, I was just thinking about this driving back today. The Masters in November. It's only a couple weeks away. Am I getting excited for it? Not like I'm normally excited for an April Masters. By the time March rolls around, I am just I'm ready. I can't wait. I'm like a kid for Christmas, right? You're the same way. I know you are because we talk about it every year. And I just, okay, it's November. It's going to be the Masters. Ho hum. I can't get excited, but I do want to watch Bryson and see what he's going to do, where it's a little more open there and you can just blast away.
I feel the same thing. I just don't know when the time comes that, because we're still just a few weeks away. When it's there, how are we going to react to it? Are we going to be the same way, right? Oh, wow, it's already here. But also, it doesn't, the truth is the build up to it is not the same. For some reason, you have all this build up from the last major or from the Ryder Cup. I'm waiting now all this time for the Masters, and we just had like the Masters is not like the last one. It's like, wow, I don't know. It's just not in the same time. It doesn't have the same type of build up. You're not seeing that everybody's trying to peak for this tournament because it's different. The COVID-19 has not provided that leeway for it. We still have some other players like Dustin Johnson. How is he going to be after the COVID-19? He had to retire. He had to withdraw from this week as well. So there's a lot of things that, I don't know, it just doesn't feel the right way. But I guess that once it's here, of course, we're going to want to watch it. Of course, we're going to want to see the different stories, but definitely doesn't feel the same way. But anyway, let's talk about now, move to the practice range where every week you and I pick a topic and each one of us take our own shots at it. This week, we're going to continue to talk about the sports media and how it's been delivered and our continuous coverage of it. And Fred, take the first shot at it.
Well, a CNBC report says that cable companies are going to lose another 25 million viewers this year. Alex Sherman had this feature, took an in-depth look at how major media companies are preparing when they're losing these subscribers. I mean, that's money just right out the door. They're not getting that back. So what have we seen so far? We've been talking about this for about 3 years, 4 years now, something like that. And it's slowly, we're seeing more and more streaming. So what's happened is that the cable companies, they know they're losing these subscribers. So they're adding on live streaming services that you have to pay for. And so they're locking these up with the tours, with the sport, whatever, so that you can't get them someplace else. You have to pay to get them from their live streaming. Just like PGA Tour, you can pay for, you get that package, you get the NBC Gold thing to get the early coverages if you want to see them. I pay for some of the stuff like YouTube. I have YouTube TV, and so I get most of the coverage on there. You can get Hulu, so you're paying it someplace, and then it filters down through, and so that live streaming ends up paying the tour for the right to do that. So they're still making money on it. They're just not doing it through your normal cable bill that you're getting. And more people have gone to YouTube TV, Hulu, Roku, all these different things to get their TV. What about other sports? Yeah, there's some of them, but they're not doing it. I think golf seems to be a little bit ahead of it to me. The networks have tied up the other sports, especially like football, baseball, hockey. They pretty much got that tied up. They do a little bit. They use other networks to cover some of their stuff, but they're not using live streaming near as much. So losing 25 million subscribers, though, Carlos, that's a lot of money every month. On a personal note, I was going to add this. We ditched cable a couple of years ago when right after we started talking about this kind of thing. We get everything we need on Roku with YouTube TV, Amazon Prime, and Netflix. We got all the stuff that we can watch with those. It's somewhat less than what we're paying for the total package on a cable bill. I watch very little on my phone. Once in a while, I will watch something. Normally, if I'm out someplace and I'm waiting on my wife, or I've got a few minutes to kill, I might watch something on my phone a little bit. But I don't watch much on the phone. I don't use a tablet. So most of the stuff that I get comes through my TV. but it all comes through apps and it all comes through no cable at all, Carlos.
Okay, I have this question for you. Because I've been doing this exercise a little bit, and I'm gonna get to something else afterward. Don't tell me exactly how much you were paying for the cable, but how much less is really what you're saving?
It's not a tremendous amount. With with the roll, everything we had in there was over $200, right? When the cable, and so just with the TV now, it's what 40 and 40, so 80, and the Netflix is not that much. It's like 11 or something. So it's about $90. So we're paying probably about 50%, 60% of what we were paying for the cable.
50%. So if you add to that the internet that you're paying for, because the internet you have to consider it there, because you're watching now over the internet, not over the cable. How much would that be? Because a lot of people think that, okay, I'm gonna ditch this, but hey, you have to add the internet to
Yeah, but
that.
I had the internet anyhow. I mean, I had it, so right.
Yeah, but again, a lot of people, and this is the thing, a lot of people start to add more of the internet service to that to make sure that they can stream all the things that they're going to be streamed, because now instead of going through your cable, which is separate from the internet service that you have, which you had for anything that you had before, now you have to make sure that you do have the service, the quality of service that you need from the
Yeah.
internet. So you cannot just have just any internet on it. So there's going to be a cost there. So the savings really is not that much that people are getting. The reality is the industry is moving away from the cable just because of the lock in that the cable companies have. It's not really that the cables are you're saving that much money away, because I try to do the same thing. Unfortunately, I need to have some channels because of my in-laws living with us now, so they need some channels that we have to keep them on. So that's why I haven't been able to ditch the cable, because when I did my research, and I said like I was gonna do the same thing. I was just gonna do basically what you're doing. I'll have Netflix, I'll have YouTube TV, I'll have Hulu, and I have all the channels I need. I had my internet, I could get it up. But anyway, it was gonna be just 20 to $30 less than what I was paying with cable. So it's really not that much when you come to think about it. Maybe, yeah, and I'm not rich, but anyway, 20 to $30. I'm not saying that much of a deal just because of cable. Now the big deal is for really the providers of the content. That's the ones who have the big deal. And the key point is the one that you brought, is that already the channels and the TV stations have already locked them in for a little while. Now, what's going to happen after that goes away? That's what we're seeing, that then everybody's trying to provide their own content. And that's when we're going to have to see how much those prices start to add up. Because then you're going to have to pay maybe for the Golf Channel alone. You're going to have to pay for whoever, CBS, which already has a package if you want to watch already old CBS runs. If you go and see the CBS app, whether it's on the Apple TV, on the Roku, wherever it is, all those channels, all those big networks, CBS, NBC, all of them are having their own content provided. So they have also some subscriptions that you're going to be paying monthly. When you start adding up, you're going to see that the cable, you are not saving that much. That's my point. Is at some point we're going to see that we're going to be paying almost the same thing, and if not more, for the content that we want than the one that we were having in cable. Unfortunately, for by then, cable might be history, might not be the same way, and it might be even higher, because then the networks are going to say, hey, no, I have my own content now. If you want it, come and pay for it. So
Yeah,
that's
couple points. One, I don't do a lot of add-on. You know, they come with a NFL package and all that stuff. I don't do any of that crap. I did this year though. I wasn't able to. You know, Fox has Major League Baseball tied up, and so being back and forth between Michigan and Toledo, I wasn't able to get the Indians all the time, and I gotta be able to watch the Tribe. So I did buy a package on MLB so that I could watch the which MLB is owned by Fox, so I could watch the Indians games. And it turned out it was great when I was in Michigan. That worked out perfect. But when I'm in Ohio, they were blacking it out. They wouldn't show it to me, which was really ridiculous to me. They weren't letting you go to the games. They're not worried about not selling tickets. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't they broadcast the games to me when I paid for it, sitting in my house? That really just drove me nuts. So I may not do that again. I don't know. We'll see, because that really ticked me off. But the other thing of that is that I'm really curious about this, Carlos, because even our little enterprise is kind of caught up in this a little bit, because I've had someone come to me and they have Golf Channel broadcast their tournament, and they can't afford them. It's just too much. They're too much. So they're willing to pay little guys like me, get a bunch of little guys like me, and pay us. They're going to have the cameras. They're going to provide the feed, and then we're going to broadcast it out on like our Roku channel or that kind of thing. So we're going to see some more of that too, Carlos. We're right at the beginning of that as well.
Definitely. And again, this is a continuing story. We're just bringing you what's up right now, but stay tuned because we're going to stay on top of it. And any changes, we're predicting it. You'll see. All that we're saying has been happening so far from the last 3 years. Just keep watching.
The only thing we've said that hasn't happened yet is that the PGA Tour signed a new contract with NBC, which is really surprising, because I really believe that in the not too distant future, the PGA Tour is going to produce their own content. They're not going to need NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox. They just don't need them. They're going to do it themselves.
Yeah, that's what we have been saying, that every single one of them is preparing to provide their own content. So may not be right now, but in a few years, we'll start to see how everybody's going to start branching out. And with that, let's close our practice range every week. You and I pick a topic, and each one of us take our own shots at it. Now let's close the show with our final putts. I'm going to start talking about Golf Data Tech, which is reporting more strong numbers for 2020 golf. Entering October, play was up 8.7% nationally versus the same period a year ago. That, take into consideration, that reflects a year-to-date increase of about 29 more million rounds, even with the loss of about 20 million rounds during the spring due to the COVID-19 related shutdowns. Now, every state in the continental U.S. has seen increase in play of at least 2% for each of the past 3 months. A major drop in precipitation helped fuel a 46% September rounds increase in Minnesota, while other Midwest states also saw notable increases, like Illinois for 35% more, Wisconsin 29% more, your Michigan 27% more, Indiana 27% more, and your other dual stateship in Ohio 26% more. So golf rounds are up maybe at record pace. We can't wait to see how it's going to keep going next year. But hey, this is great news for the golf industry. And finally, the United States Golf Association has confirmed that the 75th U.S. Women's Open Championship will be conducted also without spectators on site. Again, this is due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The championship, as you already know, was delayed until December 10 to the 13th, when it will be played at the Champions Golf Club in Houston, Texas. But here in Texas, we're still closing a lot of things. So that late timing of the event also is going to bring in another change, because in the late fall versus the summer, both courses now at the Champions Golf Club will be used to accommodate all the players in the limited daylight hours. So at least fans will be able to catch plenty of the action from home, thanks to the extensive coverage on various platforms that they have available. And of course, they'll be headlined by NBC and the Golf Channel.
Carlos, this one really hurts me. The PGA Merchandise Show that is held every January in Orlando announced that last week that they will be completely virtual. They will not have anything in real time at the convention center. I'm sure this hurt a lot. There's 40,000 people that attend this thing. It's the largest golf industry show in the world. Over 1,000 media people come alone. Over 1,000 vendors are there. 10 miles of aisles in the convention center. Everything to do with the golf industry is there. It's a great place to meet people and talk, see people face to face that you don't get to see. So it really hurts, but that's just the way life is in the 2020 COVID pandemic. So Carlos, Ohio Golf Journal's out there. New Michigan Golf Journal will be coming out here before very long, the November issue. We're down at the end of October already. We're looking at November issues. Unbelievable. But they'll be coming out. Of course, we've got the Back Nine Report TV on Roku and on YouTube. With this podcast will be on tomorrow. Will be on our YouTube TV channel on Back Nine Report TV. So hope everybody gives us a look and checks us out.
All right, Back Niners, that will wrap up another week of the Back Nine Report. Thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest in the world of golf. Don't forget to see us again next week on YouTube, or if you miss it, check it out. The audio is going to be on TuneIn. Now, if you haven't done so, what are you doing? Follow the show on Twitter. Our ID is at Back Nine Report. The number 9, remember, is in the middle. My name is Carlos Torres. I'm with Fred Altvater. We wish you to be happy, be blessed, and enjoy the great game of golf. Happy golfing, everybody.
We want to see you on the Back Nine.